Taylor.
Hi, how are you guys?
Good. We're good.
This film was absolutely amazing. Mario, you were the director and an actor in this film. You got to really create the story that you wanted to portray. What do you want to tell the audience before they watch the film?
See the damn thing, March 1st at the theater near you. When you make an independent film, the advantages are, you get to do creatively closer to the vision without taking the studio vision, right? So that's a division. The disadvantages are you don't have the big money, the big marketing budget, the big Marvel money that you might have, but you can say some stuff that wouldn't get said. And if you can entertain and bring Americans together that no longer share the same facts, watch the same news, but make us laugh at stuff we would be afraid to talk about at a cocktail party collectively, great. When's the last time you saw Butch and Sundance rob a bank, but really there is a black guy and a white guy in the crew? You know what I mean? Where you go, when's the last time you saw Stagecoach Mary portrayed like Stagecoach Mary? And at the end of the movie go, wow, they really look like that. Those people were really there. And that's part of the fun of doing an independent film, because sometimes the truth is more fun than fiction, and it's easier to do, and more likely you're going to get to do it in a purer way if you do it independently. And you can pick actors that are really good at what they do. And this dude next to me is really good at playing my son. I don't know why that is, but he's really good.
Speaking about that, Mandela, you and Mario are father and son in the film as well as real life. How was it to be able to work alongside him in this project and to be able to portray this?
I think it's always a great time working with my dad. Um, we've gotten to do it on a couple projects before. Roots, he was directing, I was acting in. But this one was great because not only was he directing it, but he was also acting in it, and we get to play father and son. So that's a little more special than usual. Um, and on top of that, we got to ride some horses, shoot some guns. You got Whoopi Goldberg, you got DC Young Fly, Cedric the Entertainer. So it was a lot of fun, a lot of laughs. And you're in Montana, it's beautiful. The landscapes are amazing. It is an indie, so not per se the biggest budget. So a lot of those effects, a lot of the stunts, all that stuff is practical. So we really got to do those things, and it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, like for example, the bank robbery sequence, he has to ride in with a horse to save me on cue each time. And it's him riding. You see him riding. Do you know what I mean? And there's no cuts. So all that stuff has got to work from top to bottom. And it means that everyone's got to know what they're doing. And not only work good with each other, but work good with our four-legged friends. And you want your horse to like you. I'm telling you, that's important. If you go, hey, and the horse doesn't come, you're stuck.
Or stop. It doesn't stop.
Totally.
You want it to stop.
Yeah. That's the yeah. You wanted to. That's another one.
But Mario, your character Chief was such a strong leader throughout the movie, trying to find redemption for people who have been wronged. Do you see any distinct similarities between you and the character?
Yeah, I mean, I think I write. There's a bit of a, as I said, slavery was legal. Not allowing women to vote was legal. Jim Crow was legal. Taking Native American land was legal. Sometimes when the laws are unjust, the just have to be outlaws. And when you grow up in an independent filmmaking family, and you say, wait a minute, all the early Westerns we saw growing up, if we're Native Americans, they were shot. If they were Hispanic, they were oily bandits. If they were women, they were pale and frail and needed rescuing. If they were Asian, they were the deferential houseboy. Well, guess what? When I look at the real pictures before women could vote, I see women like Stagecoach Mary, who had her own stagecoach line with the U.S. Postal Service. How come I never saw that in a Western? When I look at the real pictures of it, I go, oh, 1908, there's Jack Johnson and his white wife opening up a cup called Black and Tan so people of all colors could go. I didn't know about that. There's the guy who's the Asian guy who worked on the railroad who said, my dream is to open up a restaurant, who opens up the longest running family owned Chinese restaurant in America. And so part of the fun is, like as Dr. King says, we either learn to live together as brothers and sisters, or we perish together as fools. What I guess I do as a filmmaker is correct the cinematic injustices and say, I'm not doing it with a gun, I'm doing it with a camera. And I'm going to show you a West that actually looks a lot closer to the diversity of what America is now and can be, and we can fight for the America we can be, not just the America we've been. And so I'm making that correction as a filmmaker. And I'm not saying, oh, let me do unto others if they've done unto us. I'm saying, no, in our own family, we got white, black, straight, gay. We're all here, man. And let's see the beauty in all of us. And that diversity is a strength. So in a way, I know that's a long answer. I'm doing what Chief does, but I'm doing it with a camera and not a gun.
Right, and there's so many different themes within this and different things to portray to the audience. Lastly, Mandela, you portrayed Decker in the film. He goes through some moral tribulations. What has playing this character taught you about family and loyalty?
That's a good question. Yeah, Decker's definitely put in a tricky situation. I don't want to give away too much because you guys definitely have to check out Outlaw Posse March 1st. Um, but but yeah, it's interesting to see and kind of explore how you yourself or someone else who you're trying to embody might face certain challenges, and life for everyone is challenging in its own way. So the problems, although we're seeing it set in a Western setting in the Old West, a lot of the issues we're facing are still very relevant today, whether it's global warming with the Native Americans saying close up the earth after you take the gold. We don't want people coming to destroy the land, or even the family nucleus, and how it was systematically put in place for people not learning how to read, or not being able to vote, or all kind of unjust laws. So we've seen this progression in a lot of ways technologically, but a lot of the core values and the core things we still haven't figured out. So being able to play with that and see this unfold with working with your pops and other great actors, Whoopi Goldberg, Cedric the Entertainer, even people more from my generation like DC Youngfly. We have everybody, so it's laughs, it's entertaining, but it's also a film with a message. And yeah, it comes out March 1st. Check it out.
How are you guys doing today?
Good. How are you doing?
Good. I'm gonna start with you, Jake. This movie portrayed so much soul to the audience through the screen. What do you think the audience should pay attention to during the duration of the film?
I think there's a lot to pay attention to. I think it can be kind of one of those fun movies that you watch over and over and kind of spot different things, but it's all encompassing. It's fun. It's historical. There's a lot of lessons to be learned in it. So I think everyone will kind of have their own takeaway, but no matter what, there's something for everyone.
Perfect. And Amber, this movie was filled with depth about greed and corruptness. What themes in this film do you think will stick with the audience the most?
I think the fact that you mentioned corruptness, that is definitely one of the major themes. And I think a lot of new age people can relate to that as well, as far as the world we live in now. So
Yes, and Jake, this movie is coming out March 1st. How do you feel for it to finally be released and for the audience to get to watch this polarizing movie?
I'm really excited for it to come out and for everyone to get to see it. We had such a blast making it, and yeah, it feels like it's been a while now. So I'm really excited to go see it myself and see what everyone thinks, what they're enjoying, and it's always interesting to see like what moments stick out for the audience versus we have our own relationship with kind of the scenes that we filmed. So it's really good to hear what people loved and what they take away from it. I'm excited.
Yes, and Amber, your character brought so much female power to the film. She was straightforward, she was captivating. She brought a little bit of a different skill set to the group during their journey as well. What was your favorite part about playing her?
my favorite part for sure was throwing knives. I had never done that before. So that was a skill set that I've acquired, and I can, not to toot my own horn, I feel like my aim is pretty good now. That was probably the most fun part. Also riding horses. I fell in love with horses. I had only been on a horse once before the movie. So after we did cowboy camp and I got more comfortable, I've been to probably 3 or 4 ranches since then.
Oh, wow. And when you say you had to learn a lot of different skill sets to get into this role, what was that like for you to be able to have to pick up all these different things to be able to portray this character?
It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of work. But I do want to say I appreciate Mario so much because he gave us the room to do that. I had time before we even went out to Montana to prepare a little bit more. We did FaceTimes and Zoom so that he could really tell me what he's looking for with this character. He was very specific. Because he did write and direct and act in the film, but he also gave a lot of freedom. So I was able to, put my take on things or give a little bit of my experience into, breathe a little bit of my experience into the character.
And Jake, this movie is based in the Wild West, and the characters get caught up in the story of redemption for those that have been done wrong. What do you think the viewers can take away from this movie?
I think they can learn that they can always be redeemed. I think they can learn that having like a bond of like misfit, eclectic characters can kind of carry you through, and relying on friends like family and things like that. So I think there's something for everyone, like of every age, of every background. There's a lot of themes and stories that people can relate to. So we'll see.
And lastly, Amber, you stated on social media how proud you are to work on this film with your castmates. What has been the best part of this, being a part of this amazing project? What has it meant to you?
It's everything to me. This is a dream come true for sure. These characters or these actors are people that I grew up watching. Mario Van Peebles is a legend, so his name alone, I was in. I feel super blessed and humbled by this experience for sure.
How are you guys doing today?
How are you, Taylor?
Hello, Taylor.
Hi, it's so nice to meet you. William, your character, Angel's name, is so ironic considering his role in the film. How is it for you to play such a polarizing character that has those many layers?
That's a great question. It was a blast. A little bit intimidating at first, not only because of where he goes in his behavior and his attitudes, but he is larger than life. He's really big, and it requires kind of a big performance, and that can be scary. You have to trust that the rest of the movie, it's going to fit in with the rest of the movie, and that the editor hopefully will trim the parts in which you overshot the mark. But it was a blast. It was a blast with the hair and the beard and the fringe. It was fun.
And John, you've worked on so many different TV shows and movies. What makes this one stand out to you amongst the others that you have worked on and created with your co-stars?
Well, it was my first Western, so that in and of itself set it apart. But also to work with Mario and to work with the cast was great. Montana was terrific. Every single job has been singular in my experience. This one was special, also because of the ambition of the piece. Not only that it's a wild ride, but that it has moments where people might have their thoughts and feelings challenged, which would be great.
Yes, and William, before you became an actor, you were a teacher. What is your favorite part of the journey that has led you to this amazing career?
That's a great question. It's difficult to answer. First of all, to give a best of or a favorite, and it's also difficult to answer because the first thing that comes to my mind is shedding a lot of the BS difficulty in that came with that has come with my life and my personality, and cleaning myself up. I don't mean in terms of drugs and alcohol, but just cleaning myself up. It's an interesting thing being an actor in the sense that I am a funnel, a vessel through which everything passes. And if there are filters or deformations in that vessel, then the character naturally, automatically is going to be impacted and limited by that. So of course we bring our own specificity to it, our own imagination, our preferences, and things like that. But to the degree that we can open ourselves up and imagine more and perform more and have as great a capacity for affection and understanding, the more we can convey that in performances. And so I guess what I'm most proud of in this moment, I reserve the right to change this answer in 2 minutes, is that I've achieved as much in that area as I have. Boy, that
Yes,
sounded
that's
like a highfalutin answer.
No, that's great. I mean, this movie was absolutely amazing. You can just tell every character really divulged into figuring out how to best portray that. John, if you could sum up this film to a potential viewer, what would you want to say about it?
That this is a classic Hollywood Western that's a wild ride, and a ride you've never seen before. That's what I think.
And also, John, this movie has been said to bring color diversity into the Wild West. How would you say this film is providing a deeper message to the viewers as well?
Well, one of the things about, when you look at Western movies over the course of history, there's always at least one Black person in it. Usually it was the same Black person, but he was great. Anyway, I just think that what it does is it rewrites what this movie's ambition is to rewrite the Hollywood West to include people of color. And I really love that as an ambition, because it's not rewriting the history, it's rewriting the filmography, which I think is terrific, because this is the Western is the mythos of our country. It is how we see ourselves, and it's important that everybody be included. Participation matters. Identity to that degree matters. And it wasn't like one of the, sorry to go on too long about this, but one of the people in the movie was the descendant of the person who had stayed in Montana, opened a Chinese restaurant when the railroads were there. And when all of the Chinese were forced to go back to China after the railroad was finished, his family could stay because he was running a restaurant. That guy is a fourth generation Montanan. That Chinese man is a fourth generation Montanan. And it's important that the people who have lived in the West are represented in the Westerns we make.
I totally agree. I love that everyone's getting it's kind of rewriting that, like you said, to have everyone be represented in this history that kind of has been manipulated to not have representation of everyone. William, you got to work alongside so many actors and actresses in this film. Could you give us a little insight into the experience and what it has meant to you?
Well, on a personal level, I love Westerns. Coming from Kentucky, being paid to ride a horse is kind of a dream job. And shooting in Montana, a state where I hadn't spent much time at all. But to participate in a film like this, with the quality of the actors and with its aspirations, all of which John said, and sending us the message that who tells the story matters. And it feels like something long overdue and something I'm proud to have been a part of.
Perfect. Well, thank you guys so much for sitting down with me today. I loved the movie, and it's going to be amazing for everyone else to get to watch it as well.
Thank you, Taylor. Thank you for your questions.
Oh, thank
Really
you.
appreciate it.